Good morning. Welcome into this Tuesday edition of 5 Clubs here on Golf Channel, of course, on PGA TOUR Radio. That's Channel 92 on Sirius XM. This program every day is brought to you by Sentry Insurance. Business insurance needs are met and fulfilled by Sentry. Plus, they invest in golf in all the great ways. We're proud to be associated with them, as is the USGA and the First Tee Golf Pride. You saw my reverse taper putter grip on that putt that always goes in every morning. They've got more options. They chuckle. Who's they? You'll find out momentarily. And, of course, Peter Millar, this Lawrence long-sleeve wool shirt, these two, they can't wear a medium, but I can tell they want one. And they have 4 colors at petermillar.com. This Tuesday, we got them for the whole show. Protein is an important thing. How about a little Wagyu and filet on a Tuesday? Their show on Monday nights on Sirius XM at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. He was calling the golf. The other guy was analyzing the golf when it was over. And they're looking at each other's notes as if when you go back to a high school reunion and you see the 2 guys who always got in trouble in social studies class, they're still doing the same thing then, now. That is, of course, Johnson, Wagner, Brendon de Jonge, as you chuckle and chortle at each other. Good morning.
I think I could squeeze into that shirt.
I'm trying to picture you in that shirt right now.
Maybe the left side of your body.
A packaged sausage.
How you boys?
Good to be here.
It's good to have you guys always. The viewers, the listeners, they love your perspective. I mentioned your show last night. There's a lot to try to get to. We'll do it. You're here for the full hour, which is great for me. And like I said, for the audience, there's a lot when it comes to like projecting ahead. But you called the golf from Utah. And I know that sometimes you see somebody and you go, wow. But I also know that you've seen a lot of talented guys, both of you. You're very bullish on Michael Brennan. We'll get to him. But there's a lot that I mentioned. Sentry. Look, they're involved with golf in a lot of ways. They also are the title sponsor for the first event of the calendar year that is not going to happen. You guys know all these players. You know, as players, scheduling is everything. As we start, I'm curious about what effect, if any, Sentry will have on Sony. Is it a good effect? Do players who would go to Sentry go, I'm already here, I'll do the 2-step. Now is it I was in Sentry, they're not having it, now I'm not just going to go for one? Let's start there. Brendan, what do you think about Sony and the first event now of the calendar year? Does it benefit from Sentry not being there?
No. I think
Sony's
going to take a massive hit for the reason that you mentioned right there. Guys aren't going to go out just for 1 week. I think the Sony's going to take a big hit. I think American Express is going to get a much better field because of this now. Guys are going to want to start, don't want to give everybody that much of a head start. I think we'll see guys starting at American Express, not Sony.
And I'm personally sad for the guys like Michael Brennan who won and these first-time winners that don't get to go out there and start their year at Maui. I know how special that is to do that and start your season there. And I believe Michael Brennan was the first winner post when it was canceled. So everybody else that won that was going to be in Sentry, if they weren't already in Hilton Head, they got in Hilton Head.
Okay.
Michael Brennan now winning after they made that decision to cancel. He does not get in Hilton Head. So I think that's a big loss when you look at a guy like him who's going out for his first full year on the PGA Tour next year to not have that early leg up to get a signature start first week of the year. You never know. You go finish high there, then you're in Pebble and you're in Genesis. So he's going to be, I mean, he's fine.
Yeah.
But it's a big loss. And I agree with you. A lot of those guys that went and played Sentry didn't even support Sony.
Yeah.
So now you look at guys like Justin Thomas and these big name players that would be there. They're certainly, you would think, not going to go out and start at Sony.
Yeah, and it leads to a broader question about the schedule at large. You mentioned, obviously, these signature series events. We've added an additional one, and I'm going to say this because it's jammed in the middle of a lot of other big events between the first major of the year, the second major of the year, which also precedes the Truist coming back to its real home, which is at Quail Hollow, and that is Miami. What does your intuition tell you about how much these signature series events are going to miss top players? Because it reminds me a little bit of the World Golf Championship Series, which it didn't take long before they went, I don't know, probably not. No cut, show up money. I still won't go. What do you think?
I think the Doral event and Truist being back-to-back, I mean, when you look at the schedule, it goes Masters, Hilton Head, New Orleans, Doral, Truist, PGA. And so it's a gauntlet, and when you look at what comes after the PGA as well, that Texas swing, you look at guys like Scheffler, maybe Spieth if he plays his way in there, those Texas guys are going to have a really hard time playing all those signature events. One of those events is going to have to take a hit. Hopefully for Charlotte and for Quail Hollow and Truist that it's not that tournament, but seemingly that seems like a place that a lot of guys may skip that are in those fields.
I don't think we'll see Scotty at Truist. It just he's a big supporter.
Even though he won the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow.
Such a big supporter of those Dallas events.
Yes.
I just don't think we can.
And
see
it's
Scotty
right
here.
before, it's on the doorstep of a major.
Yeah.
And I think it was, him playing the Memorial before the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, he showed up gassed,
Yep.
and his modus operandi in 2025 changed. He's like, I'm not doing that again. So I think that would be unfortunate, which, again, when it comes to the fall as well, guys, we know that Augusta National made a choice, and I think it's great that global open events, national opens, are getting Masters invitations. I think it's great that you look at the South African Open. My God, you win that, and if you're not otherwise exempt into the Masters, you're now into it. But that's another hit for the fall as well, which leads to the biggest question of all. Is this the fall as we've kind of known it, kind of evaporating before our eyes to a degree?
I thought it was, but then when you see the announcement of the Good event in Austin, that kind
Will be next November.
will be next November, and then I've heard rumors of a new fall event, possibly in Asheville, North Carolina area.
Yep.
I thought they were trying to phase it out with the fact that Sanderson Farms doesn't have a sponsor for next year. Vegas left this year. There's rumors of a couple other fall events going away, but they continue to keep adding to it. I think the fall is crucial for these young guys, these rookies that even like a Justin Lauer who played well. You don't get enough starts during the year. You don't get enough momentum, and these guys need that opportunity to try to get into the top 100 and keep their card.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. I felt like the fall was going away with Sanderson dissolving, and then, yes, but you look at that, and then on the flip side, there's other events getting added. So, I don't know, the fall's going to be pretty packed again next year, and then we'll see moving forward.
You mentioned Justin Lauer. I think, only because I was looking at this list this morning, I think he's 109. And we know that 100 is that platinum plateau now in terms of employment. The other part of it is the Korn Ferry graduates. How important it was for those guys to immediately start the meter if they graduated to the PGA Tour, to just say, look, I might be gassed, I played all year, I got to play in the fall. And if those things went away, that's the other part of it. What ideally should it look like for the reasons you just mentioned? We understand that football is what it is, but what ideally should it look like to give guys with a workforce that is more finite now than it was a couple of years ago? How would you resolve what September to Thanksgiving would be?
It's such an interesting question, and I look at it from a viewpoint of being a former player and wanting the fall there for these guys. But then from a media perspective, I'm kind of okay if the fall goes away.
Yeah, it's altogether.
It needs to be some sort of 4-tournament series or some kind of lump Q school and some of these tournaments together and make it
for employment is what I would do.
Make it for employment, and I just feel like with Brian Rolapp and all his stuff, the fact that he wants scarcity, I think there's a lot of events in the fall that people just flat out don't pay attention to. And I think if you made it for employment and had some sort of smaller series of these events, I think it could be pretty compelling.
I think if you condense the fall schedule, it also gives the casual golf fan, it's going to be a longer off season. It gives the casual golf fan that time to miss golf, to really look forward to it starting back up in January. And I don't know. I feel like we're a ways away from that.
I'm gonna make something loosely analogous to the NFL, because even the NFL, when this season goes away, the NFL, and Brian Rolapp was right in the middle of all this, always gave you these morsels with a specific cadence of delivery. Whether it was, in the combine is not what it used to be, but OTAs, the draft, they gave you little morsels to go, just know that your appetite is right there, and we're going to give you the buffet come post-Labor Day. Why can't the fall, with all the stars being gone, but those OTAs, That combine, that draft, that is about employment. Why can't the fall be just that for people who can't get enough to see, guys who either might have just graduated, and the guys who just graduated from the Korn Ferry deserve that season that follows, but everybody else, make it a series where it is the intensity of what used to be 6 rounds of a Q school, 6 events essentially of a Q school. Why not do that?
I think there's a lot of little details to work out, like who's eligible for them. I mean, the Korn Ferry Finals had that vibe when players came back down, and it was. I thought it was intense. I thought it was very compelling. So you have to have. I mean, if somebody that finished 85th during the regular season is not the same as somebody that finishes 150th, and does that guy have the same amount if it's a 6-tournament series? How do you separate those guys? Or is it just anybody that didn't finish top 70? Here you go, duke it out.
I would still stagger it. Look, your results should matter. If you're on the doorstep of either keeping your card or getting a card, you shouldn't just simply go back to the starting line with somebody who was 70 places behind you. Stagger it. And look, you see Hail Marys not all the time, but they happen periodically. I think that's the way the fall should look like. You know the audience is going to be modest, but they'll be there. And here's the last thing. Get out of the way of football and put these events in the middle of the week. And so we've got live golf. You guys know, you sit in these chairs, and I was told plenty by programming, you know what, balls in the air are far more important than fannies and chairs gas bagging about the game. Put the golf in the middle of the week.
Yeah, end on Friday. I mean, it would make perfect sense for the entire fall to do that, because really, I mean, Thursday night football is great, but I'm always looking for stuff. Now that the World Series is over, I'm always looking for.
Is it over? Yeah. I thought Game 3 just ended a half an hour ago.
Was it a 6.5 hour game?
6 hours, 39 minutes, and Shohei Ohtani had a series in one night: 2 home runs, 4 for 4, 5 walks. He had 9 plate appearances.
Incredible.
But you're declaring it's over.
Well, I mean, basically, yes.
Okay, at 2-1. All right, we've got a lot that we've got to get to with the boys here on this Tuesday. And the fact is that with all of the players who, whether it's Ryder Cup bounces, whether it's Xander Schauffele winning again, Tommy Fleetwood adding another win, plus a quartet of Americans that find themselves in this kind of weird winless vortex. We'll get to that as well. And also Rory in 26. We've got Wagyu, we've got Filet. It's a Tuesday. It is 5 Clubs Golf Channel and on Sirius XM's Channel 92 PGA Tour Radio. Back with the boys right after this. We are back. I didn't hear Tyler. Look at that, live television. It's why I wanted to do it. I'm so glad I didn't say what I was getting ready to say to him. All right, this segment brought to you by Peter Millar. Yes, when it comes to anything you might need, when it comes to the fall season into the winter months, if you need to layer up, it is Peter Millar and petermillar.com. We've got Wagyu and Filet, Johnson Wagner, Brendon de Jonge for the entire hour of their program on Monday nights on Sirius XM's Channel 92, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, Johnson was calling the golf, and Brennan was analyzing the golf. More of that you guys will be doing. I know you're both doing Bermuda, I believe.
He's doing Bermuda. I'm doing Worldwide Technology and RSM.
Okay, and that, of course, is they've got a week off, and then they're back the following week. We have not talked really in depth since the Ryder Cup, which is now a month. We're a month out. I asked this of Ron Green Jr. yesterday. What, if anything, do you think is going to change about the Ryder? It could be anything. It could be the format. It could be the DJs. It could be anything. What do you think is likely to be changed, whether it's a direct effect or just, evolution about the Ryder Cup?
I think that they're going to try and bring things down a couple notches, try and clean it up as such. It feels like it's going in a bad direction when it comes to that. And I know we talked about it a lot, that this New York crowd was going to be hostile. It was going to be uncomfortable at times. It certainly crossed the line. It crossed the line many times. You were out there, you were listening to it. I think they're going to try and bring it back a notch. The last thing you want now is to have the crowd in Ireland say, oh, well, you guys acted like you did over there. Watch what we can do over here. And then it just just keeps on escalating, and you end up with a WM Phoenix Open. You know, you don't want that.
Which is fun in the wintertime to have the event in Phoenix, and it's unique and it stands alone, but it's not the spirit of the Ryder Cup to have this sort of crude, lewd sort of behavior. One thing I think, though, away from fan behavior that's going to change, I think the U.S. side's going to be a little bit more careful when they start picking captains. And I think Keegan should have been on the team as a player. And I think it's really tough. I think the way Luke Donald's handled the captaincy the last couple of years, I think it's important to have a captain that isn't trying to make the team as well, that can really dive in and devote themselves. So I think hopefully the PGA of America is going to take a step back and look at, like, okay, let's pick a captain that can do what Luke Donald's done. That's not, because it's a big role. And I think for the first time, I really kind of saw it with my own eyes how important that role is.
Yeah, look, I thought the job he did, and certainly there are things that you can be critical of in terms of lineups and who's playing odds and who's playing evens and all of that stuff. I'm talking about, comporting yourself in a way as the captain in the lead-in. I thought he did a great job. And I was like, wow, this is not somebody who runs in front of every camera and every microphone. That's not the way he's inclined to be. I thought that Keegan Bradley did an admirable job representing that position for the United States. But I'm with you. And people who are saying, give him another shot. Not now. Let him try to make another team and take away the burden of trying to do both, because he knows he's not going to try to do both. And I've felt this way for a while, and it wasn't really because of Bethpage. But Bethpage influenced my feelings about it modestly. I think the PGA of America should examine whether they should sell the property. Not because they haven't done a good job. I think they should examine selling it to the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour is open for business. They are for profit. They have private equity investment. If you're the PGA of America, if it's top of market, it's awfully not far away from top of market. You could fortify your organization for decades. You hold on to your major, and you maintain an equity position in the property itself, and you allow the PGA Tour to have ownership of it the way the European Tour does. And you alleviate the dynamic that currently exists where Europe knows they're playing essentially for the lifeblood of that tour that they're all a product of. That doesn't exist on the PGA. They don't need the Ryder Cup to exist the way that the DP World Tour does. I honestly think they should consider selling it. I really do.
I don't see it happening.
I don't see it.
No, I don't either. I don't either. It doesn't mean that I don't think that they shouldn't explore it.
They make so much money off of it every 4 years.
How much could they make like that?
Is it
$1 billion property?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's a lot of money. What does that mean for your organization? And looking ahead to all the programs that you fund, and again, you still have your major that you conduct every year. And the Ryder Cup you only conduct once every 4 years.
It'd be like winning the lottery and taking the lump sum as opposed to the gradual payout for
not
the
a
rest
bad
of your life.
comparison. I don't think the taxes are, I don't think you would lose that much. And again, take the position in equity that the tour currently has in the property itself. Just flip. You become the PGA Tour, they become you in terms of ownership. And if you're the PGA Tour, you're going, how are you going to be able to monetize this if you're paying top of market for it to make it a profitable entity? They can. Because now the players really feel like this is ours. I think that they look at the PGA of America and think, these are fine people, but they're not their people, if you know what I mean. I know it's not likely to happen. But I think that the PGA Tour, and then you could really unify the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup and create what I think is long overdue. And that is USA Golf, where there is solidarity and there is a common vision about how we are going to examine how we perform. Similar to USA Basketball. No, the Olympics are not every year, but what is the world? You have the World Championships and you have these other competitions that is different. It's a different style of basketball, similar to what this is. It's different.
Yeah, you sold me.
Well, you're not the person I need to sell. I just think it would be interesting to see how the PGA Tour would utilize this property in ways that the PGA of America is not in a position to do, because I don't think that you can solicit your membership or these guys who play in this event to go, okay, we need you to do this. And whether it's creating something like the DP World Tour used to have with the Seve Trophy, create events that help foster not only partnership, but also the advancing of what this thing is, the build to the event itself. You guys are going, come on, enough. It's not going to happen, so let's move on.
I mean,
I can read your body language. It ain't hard.
No, I mean, I appreciate everything you're saying, and it makes total sense. It's just, I think the Ryder Cup is too valuable to the PGA of America to think about selling it, and I don't think the dollar value. I don't think the dollar value matters. I think they love that event so much.
Dollar values matter to everybody. I mean, ultimately, I think you're probably right. And look, it's a crown jewel of golf. It is, with all due respect to the Players' Championship from an individual standpoint, is absolutely among the 5 most important events in the world. But the Ryder Cup has a persona, it has a brand that, and again, I also people have an appetite for it, because if you live in this country, yeah, if you want to go over there and see it over there, it's glorious. But you get it once every 4 years. So
tell you what, starting to work in this business, you get a feel for just how big the Ryder Cup was. The excitement around golf for those, I mean, the month leading up and then the month after it, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, that was my first time being on the ground, and even on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice rounds, the crowds are massive. But it's not the greatest spectator event to be there.
Not
terrible.
It's among the worst.
And especially at a course like Bethpage, where a lot of the greens are sort of perched up. There weren't that many great vantage points, and you sit there all day to maybe get one crack at seeing the groups go through. So I was kind of blown away with how hard it was to watch.
It is, and it's not, look, it is not the fault of anybody in terms of the way that they built the place out. It's what it is. You only have 4 groups, which maybe you guys will go, well, we should at least do this. They should have had 1 additional match per team session. The depth in Europe now, there's no reason why we should have 4 guys sitting in the morning and in the afternoon. There should be 5 matches. Come on. Give the fans a little bit more. You're saying no.
I think you get then you bring in the blowout, where singles doesn't really matter when you're playing those extra matches. The President's Cup dealt with it for a long time, where you have a bigger disparity there when you're playing the extra matches.
It's fair, but I would argue that Europe has better depth, and obviously they're better at this thing than the international side has been in the President's Cup, but that's fair. I mean, am I being unfair?
I mean, it was just a little cold. I mean, he's sitting right here. I mean,
we speak truth. This is a table of truth right here, if you didn't know that. We brand it that way. All right, we take a break. We get to some players looking back, looking ahead, as we continue this Tuesday edition with the boys. It's Wagyu Filet. They've got their own show. They've got their own YouTube channel. They have beef tips. They employ their sons. Child labor laws being violated left and right, all over the place by these guys. We get to that with them on Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio's Channel 92 right after this. Back in, bottom of the hour here on 5 Clubs on this Tuesday, Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio. That is Channel 92. This segment brought to you by Golf Pride. When it comes to having options, when you look and you go, I need new grips, Golf Pride is the answer. It's the answer for more players at every level all around the world. It is Golf Pride, and they've got their great design center at their global headquarters in the Sand Hills of North Carolina. I've got Wagyu Filet with me, Johnson Wagner, Brendon de Jonge. On Sunday night, you guys have to react to a guy who hadn't won on the PGA Tour. Most people are unfamiliar with him. It's his 3rd start. He's the 7th player since 1970 to win in 3 starts or less. He's Michael Brennan. And you have seen them all, but you think this guy has got particular skills that you are invoking representing the United States in the Ryder Cup team with Michael Brennan. Explain why you think this guy has the goods to be really, really good.
Well, he's put the time in on the right things since he's turned pro. He was 12th on the PGA Tour U ranking last year.
Yep.
Played pretty well on PGA Tour America in 2024, finished 18th, then goes out this year, wins 3 times, gets the battlefield to the Korn Ferry Tour. And he worked hard on his wedge game. He worked hard on his putting. He went out to Scotty Cameron Studios and worked with Paul and really got dialed in. And Paul actually told me that a lot of young kids come in and they want to know the data. They want to know the metrics and why isn't the data correct. When Brendan came in, he wanted to know what he needed to do to his putting stroke to get the right data coming out with the putter. I think he hits the ball a mile.
Yes.
I don't know that I've seen a young man have a more technically sound swing, chipping action, putting stroke. It was Saturday on 12 when he took that driver way down there and he had 50, I think it was 65 yards to the back pin, and he hit this little 3/4 wedge that landed below on firm greens. One hopped up, spun to this, and it was like, wow, you've got the ability to hit the ball that far, but have the touch to control a 60-degree like that. And for me, it was that shot and that aggressive sort of play that I knew he was going to win that golf tournament.
You know, you watch some guys play and you're like, you know what, this guy's a nice player or he's had a nice week.
Yeah.
This one hits a little bit different. You know, watching him, we did a comparison of his golf swing next to Adam Scott's golf swing. There is a lot of similarities in the golf swings there. He's got so much speed, as you mentioned there. And he seems to have a wonderful head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
You listen to him speak, the way he carries himself, he gets it.
He gets it, and I think winning breeds winning. And for him to,
Bingo.
like, the stuff he's done this summer on PGA Tour Americas and the way he was able to win in Canada prolifically, be number 1 on their points list, and then keep doing the same things. It doesn't matter where you're playing, if it's the PGA Tour, the Korn Ferry Tour, DP World Tour, keep doing those same things, and that's what I hope he does going forward, because I know when a lot of people get that first win on the PGA Tour, it sort of, I mean, for me, it made me a little complacent. I was like, oh, I've gotten here, and you forget about all the work you put into to get to that point. And I think that's what makes Scotty Scheffler so great. I'm certainly not making that comparison
No,
with
I know
Michael
what you're
Brennan
saying,
yet,
though.
but he does. You said he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a competitor. He likes working. He likes the process of it, and I do. I firmly believe he's going to have a crack at getting on that 2027 Ryder Cup team, and I think we need to start. I mean, look, Nick Dunlap won twice as a young player, but he's lost his way. It clearly can happen, but this young man seems more poised than any sub-25-year-old, maybe with the exception of Akshay Bhatia, to just really go off.
Yeah, this is not a flash in the pan. I mean, he was, 111 in the world from playing PGA Americas. That's impressive.
Yeah, because he was either winning or living in the top 5.
Yeah.
And you said something that you guys know guys that whether, you know, nobody wins a ton unless you're somebody who's a generational player, and Scheffler's in that window right now. Winning does beget winning. There's certain guys that you look at and you go, he can handle this. Like, I remember listening to Joel Damon when Nick Taylor won at Pebble Beach some year, and he's like, no, that's what he does. And it's like, well, he doesn't do it a lot, but the point is when he's there, he's comfortable in that environment. He won 8 times in college, the same number of wins that Curtis Strange had, and also the steps. I love people that don't skip steps, and some people are in a position because they have the luxury of being able to skip steps, but he didn't. And when he was in the step of PGA Tour Americas, what did he do? He won and won again, and then he won again, which gets me to, we seem to have a couple of players every year that you go, this guy and this guy. So give me the 3 guys. Brennan could be one of them that you think really pop in 26. Who are they?
I think Cameron Young's really going to pop. I think Cameron Young's going to be a top 5 player in the world come year end. I think he's going to take so much out of that Ryder Cup, plus getting that first win at Wyndham. Cameron Young, to me, is ready to really take it to the next level.
And that's, I'm not talking about just a young, like that's it right there. Yep. It is wherever you are, it's taken another big step. And I tend to agree with you. I thought the way he was at the Ryder Cup was like, okay, this guy is being a bully in the most sedate way, which makes it even more impressive. He wasn't overt, he wasn't demonstrative. He's like, no, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And obviously, the putt he made on 18 was huge. How about you?
I had Cam Young on my list as well, but
Yep.
Jacob Bridgman, and this is a guy that made the Tour Championship, played his college golf at Clemson. Nobody really knows much about Jacob Bridgman. He finished 113th his rookie year, jumped all the way up to 27th this year on the FedEx Cup, making the Tour Championship, and I think he's gone under the radar. I love his golf swing. I like his demeanor. I think we're going to continue to see him sort of get better and better every year.
Okay, let me give you some names, and these are three younger guys. All of them have gotten some notoriety. One of them has already won a couple of times. Let me start with Chris Gotterup. What would be the reason or any trepidation as to why he won't take another leap? He got Ryder Cup chatter, obviously off the Scottish, and then he backed it up. He showed up at the 3M, finished in the top 10. How about Chris Gotterup? Do you think he continues to ascend?
I got no trepidation there at all.
None.
No, I think Chris Gotterup's ready to move on.
He's a dude, right?
Yep, very much so.
Okay.
He's a dude, yes, but when we talk about Michael Brennan, when we talk about his golf swing, and when you look at his results, what did I say last night? He had 28 registered events on the OWGR, 18 top 10s. I look for that kind of consistency. Chris Gotterup, nope, doesn't have that kind of consistency. And for me, he's got a golf swing that's a little bit timing oriented. It's not perfectly, look, I'm in no position to talk with my mechanics and my golf swing, but his mechanics leave a little bit to be desired. And it's timing, and it's if he's hot, he's going to be hot. But I don't see Gotterup making 25 of 28 cuts and having 15 top 10s, because I just don't think he's that dialed in mechanically.
Okay.
No, he's going to be more streaky.
Yeah, and that's fair. He did only miss one cut after the beginning of April, and obviously he had that torrid stretch there. He played with Rory, went through him to win the Scottish, and then the impressive thing to me was, you mentioned about winning, and you're like, huh, and for you, it was winning and going to the Masters. For him, it was winning and going to the Open. Finished third in the Open. But I get your point. How about Michael Thorbjornsen? Is he somebody who you think can make a big step? A lot of people think he is among that small group best that hasn't won yet.
Yes.
He's young.
Very much
Very
so.
young.
Very high on Michael Thorbjornsen. Very high. I think he needs to tighten up the wedge game a little bit. The wedge game's not great.
No.
He needs to learn how to flight it down, sort of hit those three-quarter shots.
151 proximity from 50 to 125.
Yeah.
Which you look at these guys, that's kind of the hole in their repertoire right now. Luke Clanton, same thing. How about Luke Clanton?
Yeah, well, I mean, when these kids come out of college, I think we talked about this last week at Black Desert, it takes time to learn how to flight wedges. You're playing on, the margins are so thin on the PGA Tour, tight pins, much different than college, where they don't have to necessarily have these three-quarter wedge shots. I like Clanton a lot. I think playing golf as a professional has been a little bit different for him, and it's going to take a little bit of time. And fortunately, he's got next year as well. So does Thorbjornsen. Thorbjornsen's wedge game gets me a little bit, and I think he gets a little inconsistent with the 10-finger grip. I think it leads to a lot of wrist action, and I think that's probably why he struggles so much with his wedge game, is because he can't sort of dead hand shots as easily with that 10-finger grip.
One little story you mentioned about, the idea of hitting these shorter shots, these, take some speed off. Steve Elkington shared his story with the Tiger's first season. He played with him at Warwick Hills, the old Buick, and he was just inside Tiger yardage wise, both of them inside 130. He zips one in low, to about 6 feet, and Tiger, snares one back to like 32 feet. And of course, he got the louder applause, and Tiger didn't say anything to him in that moment. And 3 months later, they played together, and he replicated the same type of low-flighted shot, two spins, skip, stop, and he looked at Elkington. He said, "I was paying attention," and it was, I will get that shot. I will add that shot to my repertoire. So even someone like him, he wasn't necessarily equipped with it at the time. All right, let me ask you about some bigger guns here, and I want to start with Rahm and DeChambeau. They both had, Bryson, a more complete major championship season. He's living in the top 10 in majors. As you look ahead to 2026, you look at the major championship venue, I think we've got a full screen of just a kind of a capsule of these two guys in terms of, looking ahead, but also obviously what they're both two-time major champions. Rahm has got a U.S. Open and a Masters, and Bryson obviously the 2 U.S. Opens. And John has reappeared in majors, was right there at Quail with 5-6 holes to go. Who are you more bullish on in majors in 26?
I think Bryson, for me personally. I think just the way he's played, the way he plays Augusta, the way he plays U.S. Open PGAs. Now, I do believe obviously the run he had the last 3 days at the Open Championship was incredible. But the wind laid down.
Yeah.
Like at Troon when it was windy, like he can't. I don't see him being a great Open Championship player. So I would give Rahm the edge there. But I think Bryson's been so good in the other 3 that I'm going to give him my nod.
Okay. I'd go the other way, Jon Rahm. I think Jon Rahm got the juices flowing again, where he got back in the mix there at Quail, where, as you say, was right in the middle of it with 5 holes to go. It was that putt that lips out on 13. If that goes in, we might have seen a different winner at Quail.
Par 14 and 15.
Par 14 and 15.
Knowing the guy behind him was not going to par 14 and 15.
Yeah.
Who was Scheffler. The thing about Rahm, and you mentioned about the Open Championship, look, Bryson deserves credit. The opening round that he had, it's windy, it lays down. He took advantage. He played exceptionally well for those 3 rounds. But you expect you're going to get wind for half the championship. And John's record in the Open is far superior to Bryson's. Mm-hmm. And he also has won the Masters, where Bryson has figured out the Rubik's Cube that is Augusta National. But Bryson has 7 top 10s in his last 10 major championship starts. And that includes, a win, 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, an eighth, and a 10th. The guy's living in contention in majors.
He is. Jon Rahm, to me, last year you can throw it out for him. He couldn't figure out what he was doing. He was not comfortable in his own skin.
You're talking about 24.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
didn't get to play in the U.S. Open, had the foot issue, and there was something that was off when he showed up in defending the Masters. There was a self-conscious quality to him that I think was debilitating.
Well, obviously, I think he was upset with the reaction of him leaving for LIV. And I mean, that would get anybody down when you become a villain like he became that year. But yeah, I think they're both going to have great major seasons next year. And I wouldn't be surprised to see either of them pick off one. Okay,
we are living in an interesting time for 4 Americans who have been among the best players, not only in the United States, but among the best players in the world. And in terms of how old they are, similar, 3 of them. One of them is a little bit younger. Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Collin Morikawa, Patrick Cantlay, they're still productive. Jordan has dealt with a major injury, and this year was kind of a return, and I thought there were some signs, some positive signs. But the truth is that only Justin Thomas won on the PGA Tour this past year, and he's the only one who has won a golf tournament on the PGA Tour since the fall of 2023. Who are you most confident can be who they formerly were in our minds?
I think it's Collin Morikawa.
Okay.
He's 28 years old.
Yes.
I think he's gone through a lot this year, changing up caddies. I think once he gets it figured out, I think he's going to be back. I think he's just too good of a ball striker. He's gotten better around the greens. His putting's gotten better. I think he's going to be back, and I don't think we've seen I think the best is still possibly ahead of him. Okay.
You think better than what we've seen? This is a 2-time major champion.
And I think he's going to get another one.
You do?
Pretty soon, yes. I mean, look at the season he had last year. I mean, in 2024, he was there. And
he was there in 24.
And I think getting back across that finish line one more time, I think, is going to get him the confidence where he needs to be.
I'm going Justin Thomas. I still think Justin Thomas has got some really good golf in front of him. Now, in saying that, I don't know, is it going to be as good as it was? Obviously got those couple majors there, but I still think Justin Thomas has got some really good stuff in front of him.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
That 16-2 is a green light for the Hall of Fame, but that bullet above that,
that's the worrying one.
It's mystifying that since winning at Southern Hills, he's missed the cut in half of his major starts. And it's not just missing cuts. He hasn't had a chance in any of them. That to me is baffling.
Yeah, he gets off to a bad start.
He does.
He's got such a good short game. This year he did really clean up his putting. The putting stats got dramatically better this year, and I think if he continues to putt the way he did, I would agree with you that he still has some really good stuff left.
He has his lone top 20, he has one top 25 in a major since he won his last major. That was 2022. Give me the Spieth. Give me, because we know he is the man who can stump. He's the Spieth stumper. I mean, give me the stump speech that why it can be really good again.
Well, I mean, coming off a wrist injury,
yes.
He did. I mean, he finished. He's like I think 56th in the FedEx Cup right now. So hopefully he'll get in those first couple signature events. Coming off that wrist injury, don't know what it's going to be like. And I thought he had a really solid season. Lots of bright spots, some disappointment, but I do think if that wrist is healthy, I mean, look, 2015 he was pretty close to completing a season Grand Slam, so I don't think we're going to see that. But I do see him getting in contention in majors, and I see him winning again, hopefully soon.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I look at him, and I thought this past season there was encouraging, and I thought he was very transparent. It was Gabby Herzig who asked the question about goal setting when he showed up at Pebble Beach, and he talked about what he was. It wasn't so much goals, it was the aspiration of experiencing certain things before he got to the Masters. And I thought actually he did do those things. And we know even if he's in a mummified state at Augusta National, like he lives in the top 10 there, and he finished tied for 14th, which is admirable. I think Spieth has not only a state of mind, look, he has a family. I think that he is incredibly comfortable with who he is, but is also still intensely competitive. Brendan, I think that I think he's going to win in 26, and I think that he will contend at Augusta National because he always does.
I wouldn't be at all surprised, Gary. He's not that far off. There's a couple foul balls with the iron game. He needs to tighten up the iron game. He actually drove the ball beautifully. He's still got some nice pop there. He's hitting it a long way. Needs to tighten up the iron game just a little bit. But yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win next year.
All right, we take a break. When we continue, get some thoughts on Rory. Is it going to be in 26 what we kind of thought maybe it would be right after Augusta National? Much more. Wagner and Filet on Tuesday here, Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio's Channel 92 on Sirius XM. Back right after this. Back in final segment, Tuesday edition of Five Clubs. This segment brought to you by Sentry Insurance. They are right by you. Business insurance needs always met by Sentry. All right, we've got Brennan and Johnson here. A couple more minutes to go, boys. The Europeans, we all talked about this in advance of the Ryder Cup, that at least a quartet of them were better than they were 2 years ago in Rome, and they really did prove that out. Fleetwood's in a different place. Bob McIntyre is a better player. Tyrrell Hatton, you could say. Hovland is mercurial. Whether he's better, he's not worse. Oberg is what he is. He's a super talent. Who among that group do you think, whether it's a major championship season, overall production, who are you betting on most to have the best year in 26?
I think it's Robert McIntyre.
You do?
I mean, I love this guy. He won twice on the PGA Tour. He wins his Scottish Open, his native Open championship. And I just think the way he played, I mean, he darn near won the U.S. Open at Oakmont this year. I just think the way he plays, the fire that he plays with, the desire that he has, I see him continuing to majors and winning.
He's got chops, man. He really does.
I think it's Oberg. This guy came out, I mean, all guns blazing. Kind of took a step back this last year. I'd say he took a big step back. Just needs to clean things up a little bit. I look for Oberg to pick off a major.
Yeah, he had some weird, whether it was a 9 around a hole that took him out of contention just like that. Nobody's moved on from him, but I think because it was kind of a stagnant year, that it's like, okay, you pay attention to others. There's no reason to think that we're talking about guys who could be in the top 5 in the world. There are many people, you guys probably included, who think he has the goods to be as good as anybody. Is Fleetwood at 34? is it possible that his best golf is still ahead of him? Or we're watching the best he can be, though, right?
I mean, different people mature at different levels. I mean, Jordan Spieth was so incredible in his early 20s.
Oh, how about 19?
I know, but I mean,
Yes.
Fleetwood's now in this spot where I think
It's old school prime.
Getting that, it is old school prime. Which is why I still think Spieth and Thomas and those guys were talking about have a chance. But getting that first win in the U.S., being in contention as many times as he's been in majors, I think next year he's going to be as confident as he possibly could be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I also think that, look, Matt Fitzpatrick, he had kind of a bad first half of the year, and then when it was really on him to produce, to get on the team, he did it. And he did it kind of in a stealth way. People weren't paying, but 7th and 4th and 8th. And I also thought that the way he played at the Ryder Cup was he's chippy, man, in a understated way. Last thing about Rory, you feeling that Rory is going to be a little bit more unburdened by things in 26? Not sure.
The way he played at the beginning of this year, 2025, going out and winning Pebble the way he won it with the softer golf ball and the different wedge shots he had, the Players' Championship, I think all that preparation he did in the offseason was for one goal, and that was win Augusta. And since he's gotten that, after that I thought, oh, he's going to play footloose and fancy free. He's going to go win 7 more majors. I don't see it. I don't know if he's got it. Like the amount of work he put into getting that Masters and getting to that level, I just don't know if anybody could have the desire to get.
You kind of feel the same way.
100% with you. 100% with you. I think he's going to play a condensed schedule. I don't see a dominant year out of Rory because I don't think he wants it.
Yeah, it's interesting. He also said like the medal in the Olympics is like the last thing that would check all the boxes. Boys, love having you here, really do. Tomorrow, John Cookie, the best flow in golf, even today. And also Gabby Herzig will be with us. We'll do some college golf with Cookie, who's at the East Lake Cup. And by the way, you can watch Match Play today. For the boys and myself, have a great Tuesday. We will see you for a Wednesday edition of 5 Clubs.